Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. How are you? Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, now we will come to today's news. Here's some great news. Michael and Dell beat Nancy Pelosi. That is fantastic news in a January 6th committee, if you will. If you remember a couple of months back, maybe about, I think it was over the summer. It was over summer where the FBI descended upon Michael and Dell while he was in a drive-thru to take his phone away because they wanted the messages on his phone. Well, he turned around and sued Nancy Pelosi, and guess what? The January 6th committee decided to go ahead and drop the whole case. So let's get to take a look at this. Coming to us from the Gateway Pundit over here says Chairman of January 6th Select Which Committee withdraw subpoena against Verizon for Michael and Dell's phone records, after he sues Nancy Pelosi. Benny Thompson, Chairman of January 6th Witch Hunt Committee, has officially withdrawn the subpoena requests on behalf of the committee after Michael Indell's phone records after he filed a lawsuit against the unpopular Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Here's the thing here: order of dismissal. We spoke with Lindale, who explained that he sued the unselected committee almost immediately after he received our subpoena. Sorry, but you're not getting my records, Mike said, adding it's against the Constitution. I wasn't even there. Mike was referring to the Capitol building, which he was nowhere near when it was breached. Fortress. Fortunately, Mr. Lindo, who is despised by the mainstream media, was being interviewed by the media when the incident occurred. It was a bitterly cold day at the Lips. Mike headed back to his hotel room after listening to his good friend President Trump speak. But that didn't stop the Unselect Committee, as Mike calls them, from using his presence at DC as an excuse to go after his phone records. That's right. The anti-Trump January 6th committee had cast a wide net hoping to catch some of America's most influential activists and supporters of Trump and in some sort of illegal activity. So far, they've been unable to prove their case that some widespread plan was being hatched to take over what many still believe to be illegitimate government that was elected through mass ballot harvesting. The goal of the January 6th committee, of course, is to neuter Trump and destroy any chance of him being able to run an effective campaign for president in 2024. But the pack of leftist hyenas made a bad decision when they chose to target the fearless My Pillow CEO, Mike Lindale. That's right. So after they sat there and tried to take him out, he fought back. And he won. He beat Nancy Pelosi and the Unselect Committee of the witch hunt of January 6th. Fantastic news. It's always great to see good news for some of these wonderful patriots out there, people like Mike Lindale, who continues to fight on behalf of President Trump and, of course, the American people to fix what took place in 2020 and continue to shine the spotlight on the things that happen in certain swing states across the country, and how those few votes were able to swing in an entire election. And those specific states. Well, Mike Lindale, continue up the good fight. You are doing great work. We absolutely appreciate your voice out there. And I'm so glad that he was able to be Pelosi and the Unselect Committee. Alright, so the New York Young Republican Club hosted its 110th annual gala. This happened on Saturday in New York City. And they made an error. They wanted to be inclusive and they played into the trap of the box's leftist. Please listen to me. Stop kowtowing and this is to any organization, person, or whatever that wants to be inclusive. You cannot kowtow or you cannot bend to the woke mob. They will never be satisfied, and they will stab you in the back every single damn time. Here we go. The left is attempting to mischaracterize conservatives as racist, bigot, homophobes. All right? The New York Young Republican Gala made it a point to accept everyone at their gala, at their event, regardless of their viewpoint. Prove this point, they proving this point. They even allowed in members of the left, hoping to expose them to new ideas, policies, and positive conversations. Now one of them, the Southern Poverty Law Center, graciously was allowed inside the venue. And after that they decided to take this offer of goodwill, this olive branch if you will, and push fake news and lies. The Southern Poverty Law Center's Michael Edison Hayden characterize an open event attended by everyone from Donald Trump Jr. to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to Roger Stone as a white national of the event where attendees were bracing for total war. Wow. Now there's a whole bunch of libel and lies here. He claimed that Lucian Weintrix, who was at the Gateway Pundit, was let go for being a white for his white nationalist ties. I guess it doesn't matter that Lucian is a Jew and the grandson of Holocaust survivors. That still makes him a white nationalist or white nationalist ties. But hey, Look, if there's an event with Don Jr., and MTG and Roger Stone, it must be a white nationalist event. It must be something that has to do with white supremacy and white privilege. And guess what? Laugh if you want. The truth is, I too have been labeled a white nationalist and a supremacist just purely for being conservative. They try to divide to the point where it makes no damn sense. Alright, China is encroaching on Taiwan. They have upped the ante. If we are concerned about an attack move by China into Taiwan, they are flexing big time in the last 24 hours. Taiwan's Ministry of Defense said that the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party's army during the previous 24 hours, had said 18 H-16. Excuse me, 18 CNH-6 nuclear-capable bombers into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone. That is a new record number for a single day, but that's not it. They were accompanied by propeller transport aircraft configured for anti-submarine warfare. And other ones for reconnaissance and air superiority fighter. Now what's all this? This is to show the power that they can have against Taiwan, but it wasn't so much a move to attack Taiwan. I mean, these, for instance, the H-6 is the most extensively upgraded and dangerous of the CCP planes that were out there. They are upgrades of a Russian designs, old Soviet designs, upgrades, and I guess people who are in the military say that these are pretty powerful. Some even say impressive upgrades that make these things very deadly. For instance, the H-6 can carry up to 6 cruise missiles with nuclear warheads. But here's the thing, this is why I'm reporting on it. It's not so much a flex on Taiwan. But this was to show that not only could they harass Taiwan, bomb Taiwan, or make a military move on Taiwan, but it was a show with all of these different aircraft, that this was a signal to the world. If we do something on Taiwan, we also are prepared to take out anyone who comes to the defense or the aid of Taiwan, especially what they're flexing on their hardware to get at submarines and other naval support that may come from other nations in support of Taiwan. Just thought I'd report that to you because the Ministry of Defense made this announcement, made this news, and you should be aware of, just in case, as we are. Oh, I don't know, Paul Pelosi, which I'm gonna get to in the second year with other news that perhaps China might make her move. Speaking of China, CCP and their nefarious actions, there are more states that are joining in the banning of TikTok from government devices. Okay, so we now have Alabama about to do it, and Iowa. Abilene is the other state. Yeah, so we have Governor Kay Ivey had made the move this week, but now we also have yesterday, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds took similar action, directing the Iowa Department of Management, the Office of the Chief Information Officers, to ban the Chinese-owned app from all government devices. And we also have Doug Burgum in North Dakota. And there was one other state, so the governors of South Carolina, Texas, Maryland and Utah have taken similar action against the Chinese-owned app, as well as Republicans push for a similar ban applying to the federal government. I mean, it's a spy app. Do you really want it on government employees? Devices, blackmail, and other things that can happen? Remember, President Trump said this is bad news. And Joe Biden said no, it's not something to be afraid of China. Come on, man. Well, 59% of Democrats want someone other than Joe Biden as a 2024 nominee. That's almost 60%. This comes from CNN, a very Joe Biden, Marxist Democrat-friendly outlet. A majority of 59% of Democrats prefer someone other than Joe Biden to be the part of these 2024 nominee, a CNN poll revealed today. Among the 59% who prefer another Democrat to Biden, only 51% said they would definitely vote for Biden if you were the party's 2024 nominee. Just 28% say they probably would vote for Biden. So overall, 86% said they would support or would likely support Biden in 2024 if there were no other nominees, but they don't want him to be the nominee. This is similar to what the Rhinos establishment and the fake media want you to believe about President Trump, that they don't want him running in 2024. Because you have loud voices, like Romney and others, who are haters and are absolutely an embarrassment to the state of Utah. And I can say that because I'm in Utah right now. I'm a resident of Utah. It's not like that. President Trump still is the leader of the Republican Party. Alright, we have the Federal Reserve are raising its benchmark interest rates again, today, by 50 basis points, 0.5%. This a little bit less than the last 4 times when it's been 3/4, or 75 basis points, 0.75%. So there's that. But the increase was approved today at the conclusion of the 2-day meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee. And it lifts the central bank's federal funds target to a range between 4.25 and 4.5%. And it looks like they are most likely going to continue to raise rates at subsequent meetings. Though, they say it may be less of a jump every time they do it because they're trying to get inflation in check. But don't worry about inflation, folks, there's obviously plenty of money, because the Biden administration has just announced $55 billion gift for Africa. Once again, this is redistribution of wealth. You can't give away something that's not yours. But you know, both parties do it. We'd let them get away with it for so long. Now they are raping and pillaging absolutely every single dime of Americans, not just in the form of taxes and our taxpayer money. But of course, inflation, which is the hidden tax that is crushing everyone. The White House has announced the other day that $55 billion in economic aid, healthcare and security support for Africa. That's right. The same ambassadors that won't give money to put a border wall or to continue the border wall on our southern border, are putting money in the White House in this aid, economic aid to support Africa. Joe Biden hosted a meeting for African leaders that began on Tuesday, during which the White House promised more details of the massive benefits package will be devolved. Working closely with Congress, the U.S. will commit $55 billion to Africa over the course of the next 3 years across a wide range of sectors to tackle the core challenges of our time. Any more than that? AOC's movie bombed, averaging just $80 per theater. With what tickets are $10 to $12 a ticket? That means they had about 7 people on average watching it per theater. Wow, that's pretty bad. Let's say everyone went to go see the $6 matinee. I don't know where it's at where you're at. But out here in Utah, my kids were telling me I think on Cinemark on Tuesdays or something that has a $5 day, so let's even take it down to $5. That means over the weekend, the average attendance for this movie by AOC was 16 people if they all worked cheapskates. Did you even know that? Sandy Cortez, for the person formerly known as Sandy Cortez, who's now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She didn't even know she had a new documentary about climate change in theaters out right now. Well, apparently no one did. Except for the 16 people on average, 8 to 16 people on average. That poor theory, they want to go see it. AOC climate change. This is Fox News. Documentary earns only $80 per theater despite rave critic reviews that, to me, this isn't par for course. New York Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez new climate change documentary debuted in movie theaters over the weekend, generating an abysmal $80 per theater. The new film To the End was filmed over 4 years and follows 4 young women as they attempt to pass sweeping climate change legislation in Congress. Made the movie sucks because anyway, for years, here's the part that should surprise anyone. The film boasts 88% fresh critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. But as of the time of the article from Fox News, didn't have an audience score. In other words, critics loved it. No one saw it. Alright, let's get into the pop-up Paul Pelosi attack video and audio and bodycam footage. Okay, it was aired in a preliminary hearing today. Let me just cut to the chase right now. I'm gonna give you the details because it's funny, but how can you listen to what I'm about to report to you and not come to the obvious conclusion that there is still a cover-up going on? Okay. 911 audio and police body cam footage of the PA Pelosi hammer time playtime between Pa Pelosi and David DePape was aired at David DePape's preliminary hearing today, Wednesday. According to reports, David DePape entered the Pelosi San Francisco home on October in the middle of the night looking for Nancy Pelosi. Now we've seen the photos and the glasses on the outside, but supposedly he broke in. I guess we're supposed to forget that we've all seen CSI and procedural shows at this time. Plus, that's generally how it works. You kick a door in, the door is not going to be on the out, just basic physics and logic here. Quote, DePape told officers and medics at the scene. I'm sick of the insane effing level of lies coming out of Washington, D.C. I came here to have a little chat with his wife. I didn't really want to hurt him. But this was a suicide mission. I'm not going to stand here and do nothing, even a costume in my life. That's what CBS is reporting. Supposedly, Things escalated and David DePape reportedly hit Pa Pelosi in the head with a hammer. Now here's a partial scrap transcript of the audio. Well, why don't you just play us the audio? Why don't you just place the video? Well, according to court reporters for NBC, the TV monitor that played the video was facing the San Francisco Police Department officer on the stand. So the people in the court couldn't see the actual video. They could only hear audio. Well, why would they do that? Probably because it was doctored. Probably because it was edited. Probably because of the people in the courtroom got to actually see it. They would know that it's a sham job. That's my 2 cents. So this is what a partial transcript of the audio is released. Officers has dropped the hammer. DePape says, nope. Then there's sounds of a struggle and DePape strikes Pa Pelosi with the hammer. Some officer says oh crap, but didn't say crap. He says oh, shyster. And then there's 2 seconds as officers tackle debate. And then when an officer is saying backup code 3 keeping your effing hands, give me your effing hands. Okay, I'm reading the transcript. Or probably isn't even like saying anaplasia as give me your expletive hands. Okay. So court, this is what the God Shaban of NBC reported. Court just played police body cam video night of police attack. The TV monitors facing the Samsung Police Department officer on the stand, so most of us in court couldn't see the video, but could hear audio. I use my stopwatch to time out events as they unfolded. Well, once again, we can't see the video is probably doctored. So who knows how accurate this timeline is. But it went something like this. 0 seconds officers not door Pelosi home. The door opens, the offices says how are you doing? Officer, what's going on, man? And then the man who answers the door, he's good. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Open Source News. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe